Let's jump to this next story, though. This story is probably the one that has me scared the most. It's a story from September 6th. This is a video of a run-of-the-mill liberal, not a political guy, aiming a handgun out of his sunroof at a Trump supporter's home in rural North Carolina and unloading on his house because he was trying to kill him. Why?
Insane.
For what reason? This man is an accountant. That's it. He's a married man. He's an accountant. He was driving through rural North Carolina, Nantahala Gorge. I'll pull up the map for this in a second. Wait till you see how in the middle of, this is in the middle of nowhere. He comes across a Trump sign on a property and pulls his car over, gets out of his vehicle, and begins tearing down a Trump 2024 banner, which belonged to an 87-year-old woman. Portly feller who lived there in this rural North Carolina area sees a man going onto his property and vandalizing it. So he grabs his rifle, which he has ready, and fires what he says is 2 warning shots into the air. I just want to stress, I see Phil shaking his head, never do that. However, he wasn't charged for anything, I guess in the middle of nowhere, so they said, okay. This man, upon hearing the shots, goes back to his vehicle, grabs his gun, and unloads on the Trump supporter's home, nearly striking the man. This is an accountant from Atlanta. You know what scares me the most? Not hearing about Antifa. I've said it before. I'm not concerned about Antifa extremists. I'm not worried about some Antifa far leftist guy marching through the streets of Portland. I don't live in Portland. People who live there, it's a problem. I'll talk about it. I think it's bad. What scares me is when a run-of-the-mill liberal guy, a default lib, advocates for mass murder or tries it. And we saw in Chicago this guy at the university, I think he's a university guy or something. I don't know his exact job. Calling on people to take guns and kill ICE agents. We see people celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, nurses, teachers, accountants, calling for more death of more personalities, including myself. And now we see some regular liberal guy. This could be anybody stopping and trying to kill a Trump supporter in the middle of nowhere. This is the point where it feels like the beginning of a zombie movie. You see the one incident and you think that's a one-off. It's not. Charlie Kirk's dead. They are escalating. We saw at the beginning of the year the shooting of the Tesla vehicles and facilities. But no one was there. No one was there, everyone said. It's like the Weather Underground, but nobody was there. Someone could have been there. We then see the shooting, the terror attacks against ICE, multiple. There were 3 targeting ICE facilities. We then get 5 vehicle attacks in the span of, I think, 2 months. In Chicago, there are 4. In Florida, there was 1. 2 of the incidents, 1 in Florida, 1 in Chicago, illegal immigrants tried using their vehicles as weapons against individual officers who then shot the illegal aliens. In Chicago, this agent was dragged by the vehicle, reached in, and then shot the illegal alien. In the other incidents in Chicago, they were rammed. One incident is believed to be a far-left extremist who rammed DHS agents. They were surrounded by leftists. They got out and shot back at the vehicle, shooting 5 times and striking the female driver. Another instance was a vehicle rammed the rear of a DHS vehicle before speeding off. And then we had the incident in Chicago where 2 illegal aliens rammed CBP officers who gave chase, pulled a pit maneuver. The men then got out of the vehicle and fled, and locals in the area, probably many illegal, surrounded DHS agents, obstructing their enforcement action, then started throwing rocks, eggs, and garbage and bottles at them. So they unleashed tear gas. Court said they can't use tear gas anymore, not without proper warning to the crowds. So that means they'll be getting pelted, and they have to put out, okay, if you keep pelting us. I talked about it a bit earlier. Security can only protect you from what they know. So when you have any normal circumstance in a country, and we have security, when we were invited, I'm going to say something that people are going to get mad at me for. I'm done, guys. I try to be diplomatic, but this needs to be said. The attempt on the Charlie Kirk Memorial was 100%. It's a fact. Nobody wanted to say it. I was asked not to say it. I'm sick of this because I'm being targeted. My family's being targeted, and people are saying, don't tell people this stuff's happening. I'm sick of it. Okay, you want to know the truth? When we were doing our security assessment, they said there's an active plot to strike the Charlie Kirk Memorial. 100%. We don't know if it'll happen, but they're trying to do it. We're tracking active intelligence, and I'm like, we can't go to that. I just had a kid. I have a wife. What do we have to? How do? And I guess the concern over the security at the event was, if we'll take the security very seriously. We'll secure the perimeter. They got the best security imaginable. The president is going to be there. It won't happen, and they were correct. So I'm not trying to disparage them. I want to make sure. I say this with the utmost respect. In the face of our private security assessment and law enforcement assessment, they were able to stop what was believed to be a guaranteed active plot against the Kirk Memorial. That's what our security team said. That's what I was told by, I'll just say, inside sources. Nobody wanted to say it because they didn't want the terrorists to win. If we tell people there's an active plot against us, people won't show up. And I knew, because I have we have private security we spend a lot of money on. And so we were like, we can't go to this. What were the parameters of securing me? And it's 2 agents on a plane flying with you. They will escort you from the plane to the exit of the terminal where there will be 2 additional security agents, officers, whatever you want to call them, who will scuttle you into an armored vehicle, which will bring you to the hotel. We'll then watch outside your suite 24/7. And I said, this is insane. And they said, and we believe active intelligence suggests there is a plot to strike the Charlie Kirk Memorial. It wasn't a question of, we're not entirely sure, but it's highly probable. No, it was like, oh no, we have intelligence suggesting there's a plot right now. And I said, okay, we're not going. That was what we were dealing with. And I'm sorry if people are upset that I'm saying this stuff, but I keep hearing from so many conservatives, stop talking about it. And I talked to one of our high-tier security guys. He was I don't want to say too much about his experience, but let me just say the best of the best in the military, like top of the top. And he said, you guys need to start talking about this. People do not understand what's going on in this country. And I said, they keep telling us, and they as in other conservatives and security, they're like, if you talk about it, you'll make it worse. And I'm like, I don't know that it can get worse. When I have to be calling the FBI and being like, this is what they're threatening to kill us. And I'm told, don't. I'm going to say it. I'm going to tell it. I'm done playing this game. And you know what? People are going to get really mad at me. We had at least one threat so far from a person who said he was going to take a fully automatic weapon and unload it on our facility. And it was deemed credible. And that's just one. And I'm told, do not say that. And I'm just sick of it. Benny Johnson knows this all too well, and the DOJ caught the guy, sent a letter threatening to murder his family. I believe, what was his home was set on fire?
I think so.
The left goes out for their No Kings protest to their glorified 7 million, and no one is trying to kill them. And I am told to shut my mouth as they're trying to kill me and my family. And then I'm gonna avoid swearing, these trolls that dare to say we are being pussies for not going into the fray where we are being told by expensive security that there are people who are trying to kill us actively and they're tracking the intel. That's what the left is doing in this country. I don't know who else talks about it. I'm not going to throw anyone else's names out there. But I'll just say this. Your favorite high-profile conservative personalities have 24/7 armed guards, and some of them plain clothes, hiding because of the threats the left is actively posing. It's not a game. It's not a joke. And now I see this video and I'm like, guys, it is happening. Okay? When my security guys go, we have active, credible threats. We need to talk to the FBI. This is serious. The FBI comes back to us and says, this is legit. And we're like, oh my God. And we're told to act like everything's okay. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about the things that have been, that anything that's happened here, because you don't want to scare people. You don't want to give people ideas. And I'm like, it's not getting any worse. This is a run-of-the-mill accountant in Atlanta who took it upon himself to try and murder a random Trump supporter. It's Radio Rwanda, like Tate was saying. And we know Ben Shapiro has talked well about the threats for a long time, and I'm glad he has. But I got to be honest, the Daily Wire crew is not telling you everything about what's going on because they're trying to avoid creating security risks by talking about it. And that's what they keep telling us. And the perception then amongst the public is it's not really that bad. Let me tell you, it is worse than I've ever seen. And the private conversations I've heard from run-of-the-mill default libs is so terrifying and shocking. I don't know how we keep doing this. Fact. Anyway, I'm done ranting. Sorry, guys.
You know, excuse me. I had something I was going to say, but I slipped out.
No, I mean, I will say, like, there's this kind of stuff needs to be shown. I mean, this is what we saw with the arena situation, the Ukrainian woman that was stabbed on the train in Charlotte. It was actually like, no, look at this. You should see this. This is what they're doing to us, and we're not going to get out of this until people are fully aware of what this looks like. Because there's this tendency among sort of conservative media to just kind of like have these vague descriptions of what's going on, but it's like when you're actually confronted with it in real time in 4K, you actually see what's going on, that does something to your soul, and you should want to never feel like that ever again.
Yeah.
You should never want to feel like you did when you saw your phone, you saw the alert that Charlie Kirk was shot, and that feeling that you had, that all of us had. We should never have to feel that again.
There are a lot of people who say they won't watch the video, they refuse. And my response is any major network like CNN or MSNBC, when they want to talk about Charlie Kirk, they should be required to show people what their ideology has done. Because I think anybody who saw that video got some kind of PTSD, some kind of trauma from watching that catastrophic murder.
Yep.
What I'll say is watching this video of this random accountant doing this, and it's from September 6th, it's from before Charlie was killed. What has me more concerned than anything, like I said, when I hear there are far left extremists that are planning assassinations, that are threatening it, my security team can assess that, we know. What you can't track for is when a random guy has become so psychotic, he tries to kill a random person. Mm-hmm. So what would happen if I was walking down the street, even with a bodyguard, and that guy who's armed saw me? Mm-hmm. We can't track those kinds of threats.
Yep.
So again, a year ago, 2 years ago, we had security, we had concerns, but it was trackable. We knew who was saying it, we knew why they were saying it, we knew where they were saying it from. We had swatting incidents, we generally believe we knew where it was coming from. I guess the Chinese SIM card farms were how they were pulling it off undetected. And our security team was like, we're good, we get it. Now we're entering a new world where a random accountant decides to try and murder a Trump supporter. No fear of prison. None.
Yep.
And I partly believe the Mangione effect is a reason why. Mm-hmm. Because if he killed that Trump supporter, you know the left would be cheering for him. Oh, yeah. They'd be saying, well, one less maggot. Yeah. So how am I supposed to go out with my family, even with bodyguards? I can't go into a public area when we're seeing this degree of lunacy. Now, I want to stress, I don't think we're at that point yet. I go to restaurants, I eat food, I do normal stuff too. And I get recognized quite a bit. But even with security, this is the door being opened. We have just entered this space where we are learning about random default libs who are so enraged by Radio Rwanda America that they would try to kill a random guy they'd never met before. Don Lemon saying buy guns, the guy in Chicago saying kill ICE. The door is open. We are in this field.
It's worth noting, like the revolution that founded the U.S., there was only like 3% of the people that were involved in that.
So the argument is, this may not be correct, but it may be apocryphal, that only 3% fought, which is it is estimated that roughly greater than a third of the colonies supported revolution. Only 3% were actually fighting-age males who engaged in conflict. I think the important thing people need to understand about all of this stuff is that revolutions are not, it's not a movie where every city and every neighborhood and every person is fighting.
Yeah.
It's not the scene from Kingsman where they're in the church and everyone's just in a melee. It's quite literally, you'll be in your suburb and you'll notice nothing. And you'll turn the TV on and there'll be a strange man saying, I'm the president now. Mm. And you're like, I don't know what that means.
I mean, in this case, right, like, I think we've all talked about, what type of situation is likely or is most likely to arise. And it would be a lot of just, violence between citizens. A civil war in the United States isn't, armies that are geared up and wearing the same outfits or different outfits and meeting on the field of battle. It's finding your cousin in a landfill with his hands swollen like Mickey Mouse gloves because they're tied together with piano wire and a bunch of drill holes in his thighs.
I think one thing that Civil War film got right was just how you didn't know what was going to happen when you went somewhere. Mm-hmm. The scene where they go to the gas station, there's people strung up.
Yep.
Or when they meet, what's the guy named Jesse Plemons? Is that the actor?
I didn't see it.
What kind of Americans?
What kind of American are you? And he's just killing people that, what was he killing? Brown people? Like non-white people?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Something like that.
Some people, like anyone that was some kind of
Foreigner.
immigrant, yeah.
Yeah, he was killing immigrants or something like that.
Because he killed Asian.
I think it's a cringe choice because it's a little on the nose for the left. But what people don't understand about social order breakdown is that there's a group of dudes and they're in a rural area like this. I got to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if you go to this area, which is again, it's they got the name of the town. It's a rural area. It's Nantahala Gorge. I won't be surprised if this guy called his buddies and said, "Guys, we can't let something like that happen. So, text group chat. Something happens, give us a ring. This is how you start getting factions forming. One day you're driving down the road and there'll be two guys." And they're going to have their guns down, and they're going to wave to you and be like, "Howdy, what can I do you for? You're coming into our town, just trying to figure out everything's safe." And then you just, "Yeah, I'm just driving through." And they say, "Okay, well, stay out of trouble." Then this crazy crackpot liberal pulls up, sees him, and starts screaming at him, and they're like, "Leave now." You start seeing things like that.
Yeah, that's why I think like South Africa is a great example of what America potentially looked like in 50 years. Because you saw in South Africa 4 years ago, they had riots across the country, and the police were just not able to put a lid on it whatsoever because it's just total incompetence at every level over there. So citizens would just set up roadblocks outside of their towns and their neighborhoods, and anyone coming in or out, they would just ask a few questions, typically on ideology, and they would know pretty quickly if this person's here to cause trouble. And then in this instance, this is what's so terrifying about it is, you can't really hide from this once it goes kinetic. I mean, Luigi Mangione took him out on 54th Street in Manhattan. That's like the middle of the world, quite frankly. And then this happens in the middle of nowhere, North Carolina. It doesn't matter where you are in the country.
This is why I say it is the more scarier of moments. Finding a platform pointed at Trump's position on where Air Force One lands is worrisome. Someone shooting at Trump, terrifying. It's the scariest thing? Right here, this is Nantahala National Forest. This is rural North Carolina. When you start seeing liberals going into the middle of nowhere and trying to kill a random Trump supporter, and you know what the thing is? He had a camera.
And wasn't he
That's how we know.
160 miles from his home?
Yep.
Crazy.
160 miles from where he lived, random default lib from Atlanta, was driving through a rural area, and something happened where he saw a Trump sign and said, "I'm tearing that down." And then when the guy who lived there, again, don't fire shots in the air. That's not a real thing. That's insane. But he lives there, and he sees this guy vandalizing his property, so all he did was he fired 2 shots from his gun in the air. So this guy says, okay, goes and gets his gun and tries to murder him. Understand, and I'm sure the liberals are going to be like, "Whoa, but he shot a gun." Whoa, whoa. He went on someone else's property and vandalized it and walked away without a care in the world, and then decided he could have just left. But no, he was going to try and murder this Trump supporter who lived in this house in the middle of nowhere. That's insane to me. That's terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a terrible idea to shoot in the air. Like that's not
a real thing. Don't do
not
that.
how you employ a gun. And I'm not sure what the laws in North Carolina are, so I'm not sure if that guy was within his right to defend his property. But it is pretty telling where, I'm just, random guy from Atlanta is just driving through and he takes it upon himself to say, "Oh, I'm going to tear this guy's property down in the middle of nowhere." That might be why he thought it was he would get away with it. "Oh, we're in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
No one's going to see, he won't see me do this and I'm going to just be mad and blah, blah,
Maybe
blah."
he drove there to kill a Trump supporter thinking in the middle of nowhere no one would find it. So take a look at this Google Earth, right? This is Nantahala Gorge. I'm going to zoom way out and zoom way in. It is middle of nowhere. No disrespect to people who live there. I'm saying it is as rural can be with very few homes. And this is where this liberal guy drives up and decided to try and murder a Trump supporter.
You never watched Deliverance?
He doesn't have proper fears and concerns.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. There's no hiding from it. There's nowhere you can go. You just have to confront these issues. It's reality. It's like, I think oftentimes people are like, "Oh, like Tim was saying earlier, that's reserved to Portland, that's reserved to Brooklyn, or like high crime is reserved to Memphis or Chicago." It's like, dude, it is everywhere now. The country is completely rotted to the core. Like, just walk around a Walmart, anywhere, go wherever you live, just go to a Walmart near you, and it's just rot and decay and just gross. And it's like this country, just there's something just sick about it. There's just something sick into the soul of America.
We know political violence is on the rise, clearly. But have you also noticed like just rage in general is on the rise? Like on the road, everyone's so angry, so
Airplanes.
quick to, it's insane. Yeah, it's the phone, but people driving. I mean,
people driving,
craziness,
and like just the aesthetic choices of people's, like they've just given up. Like it's like a joke, kind of like you go to an airport, it looks like a slumber party now. But it's like at every level, there's just like a sickness to the American soul where people have just given up. They have nothing to lose. They don't want to leave anything behind. They just want to like exist and get out of here. And it's like it's in the worst case it manifests in violence, but in the best case it's just your community just dies because nobody gives a rip about anything, and it's just depressing. I'm just tired of seeing it.
But they're doing well on Instagram.
Yeah, at least TikToks are good.
Yeah.
TikToks have been good recently, so I mean there's upside, I suppose. But no, it's true. It's just a civilizational rot, and people like roll their eyes at this, but I'm like telling you, just go to a Walmart. The people there, they're nuking their own value with how they present themselves. It's like a total disaster, and it's a sickness. It's nihilism, whatever you want to call it. We need something to believe in again, and I do think Christianity is obviously an anecdote, but just even at the practical level, like people just need tangible things that ground them to this earth that are just not there, and instead all they do is just mar themselves up. And
parents today are outsourcing so much education and parenting to technology, like iPads and all that stuff.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.